All right, we're recording. Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Beth Robelia. I work at Minnesota Virtual Academy. I have been using PlayPosit for a long time, like 5 years maybe. It used to be called EduCanon. It's very helpful for doing special ed modifications for labs and for tests. It's also good for regular students to have formative assessment if you've got them watching good YouTube videos like Crash Course or Bozeman Science or one of, Minute Earth, all of those great videos. You can make sure that students are A, watching them, and B, kind of getting something out of them and getting some feedback for what they're understanding. So let's just screen share and I'll show you. It works kind of like Edpuzzle, but we'll just put it together and we'll let you see what it is. So you need to log in and make an account, and I'll put the, I think the link is in the chat. I'm making what's called, what is it called? A bulb, where you take a video, and I went and found a video, crash course video on biological molecules. Oh, that's not what I'm wanting here. We'll just go find it. Here's crash course. I think I had to go in here. You grab the share, you hit copy, and you go to your, oops. You go here, you put your share link in there, and it will initialize your video. And then you can just hit done. You can trim the video if you want it shorter. You can put a couple videos in there. If you have the Spendy account where you're actually paying for it, I don't, because I have less than 100 students using it, because I just use it for special ed. If you use it for all your students, you do have to get a paid account, which is a disadvantage. But you can do some really fun things if you've got the paid account. I started using it when many more things were free. And then they've kind of cut back on all the privileges for free accounts, like everything else, unfortunately. But so I'm done picking my video. Now I go to interactions, and the beauty of this is, this is all template stuff. I don't use this template. As a student watches the video, they answer questions. Now they can't fast forward and just skip through things and just do the questions. They have to watch the video. You can make it so that they can review, but they have to watch the video. So we'll watch the video.
Welcome to the kitchen. I wanted to invite you here today because last week we started off in my bathroom, and I kind of feel bad about that. And also because as I'm making lunch today,
my green's a little nuts, so I'm just going to get a little feedback from my students.
3 different things. 1, the 3 most important molecules on the earth,
and see how they feel about my green. Now, obviously, I wouldn't really ask this, but you just type a question. You can type many more answers. Talks. Some of my students think he talks too fast. You can slow anything down, by the way, in YouTube. If you go to the gear, that's about right here, and there's an option to slow them down, and it makes speakers sound a little drunk, but some students think that's really funny and they do it on purpose. Talks too fast. Love him. This is the correct answer. I'm just having a little fun here. And so I hit done. And now you can see 17 seconds into the video, this is going to pop up for students, and they're going to have to answer this question about my green in order to keep going in the video. As we go through the video, we can go through more questions. I can log into my account and show you a little bit more realistic. So here's what I do for Let's go edit this. This is my account. Unfortunately, you have to have a paid account to copy other teachers' bulbs. Otherwise, I would completely welcome you to copy my bulbs. And I completely welcome you if you do have a paid account. It's warning me that I'm going to. So here's a video of me doing a lab using a simulation. This is a molecular workbench simulation that doesn't work for a lot of students. It's Java. It's kind of dangerous to download on your computer now. Obviously, there are a lot of problems with Java. Concord Consortium, which runs Molecular Workbench, is reworking these for HTML5. So sign up for Concord Consortium and get their emails so you know when they come out. I did on Screencast-O-Matic. So you can see my crazy face here while I'm talking about osmosis. But I went through, for my special ed students, I went through myself doing the lab, and instead of them trying to manage a lab sheet, some of them are really challenged learners. These are the questions that pop up for them. You can see where it pops up. At 43 seconds, I asked them, what's the definition of diffusion? I have limited options for them just because they're pretty challenged learners. This is not for every special ed student. Some of them need to come to my class, and then they have feedback. Let's see. And then at 2 minutes, they get, how does diffusion work in a glass of water with a drop of food coloring, which we go through on this. Let's see. I don't want to mess with this too much. Sometimes it'll go to the placement. Oh, here we go. It's loading the video where you would see that question. So it works pretty slick. Special ed loves this. Students don't have to turn in a lab sheet when they're done. I have a cue. I put in a question at the very end it's called a pause, reflective pause. It just says, please screenshot your score and send it to me instead of a lab sheet. Put it in a Word doc and pretend that's your lab sheet. So I have their score and I can record it in the gradebook just like a lab sheet. It's very slick. It also works really well for tests. Instead of having a test read to a student, you can make a video of yourself reading the test, or you can take a crash course, or you can take a Bozeman biology and basically have some content and then ask questions on it as a test for students. Then the material doesn't have to be read for them, and it saves special education a lot of time. And it saves people who aren't science teachers having to reinterpret your tests for special ed students. It's a lot of work to set up, but once you've got it set up, it's very slick for online. So it takes some investment. But if you do have a paid account, if you can finagle a paid account for your entire department to all share, you can copy other people's bulbs and use that for special education, and it can save you a lot of time. I'll show you a test here just so you have an idea of how that might be helpful. I'll go to review, get out of this. So here's a mid-unit test. This one's actually on me. I do a test review for my students sometimes, a test review video. And then I'll just use that as the test for students, ask them questions throughout the video. Let's find one that I did on, here's one I did on, it's on biological molecules. We'll look at what I asked them here as test questions. So they're going to watch Hank Green. They're going to get asked what type of molecules are found in the foods we eat. Check all the statements that are true about carbohydrates. How many molecules of glucose make up a monosaccharide? Now, obviously, these are not questions, these are pretty easy questions and they only have, a few options. So this is for students who are pretty challenged. and then, you know, you might, it depends on who you have as special ed students, but, or this could work as a regular test too, if you really wanted to make your questions a little bit higher level. You have a lot of options for adding interactions. I don't want to mess with this one, but we go back to the one we were making. Nope. So if we add a new bulb, then you've got lots of different kinds of interactions, or you can use their templates. I don't use their templates. I think you can only use it with a paid account. You get a whole bunch of different things that you can use. Free response, you have to grade, obviously, fill in the blank. You can have a discussion if you're doing it live. There's lots of cool, you can embed a website. There's lots of cool stuff. I usually pretty much use multiple choice if I'm doing special ed because I don't want to have to grade it. I use check all. Vocabulary matching is a new one. I mostly just use Quizlet for that and do separate quizzes in my LMS. But that's the gist of PlayPosit. It's pretty straightforward. Plunk in your favorite YouTube video, pop in some questions. It takes me between 15 minutes and an hour to get a PlayPosit, which is why it's great to have a paid account, because then you can copy other people's bulbs and you don't have to do it yourself. So if you can convince your department to all go in and get a paid account, you can copy other people's bulbs and save yourself a lot of time. Or maybe you can convince special ed that they should get a paid account and you can pick bulbs for them. Because lots of different topics, social studies, I mean, there are a lot of different bulbs, not just in science here. So that could save you a lot of work and all of your colleagues who need to make modifications for special education students. It could save a lot of time for everyone. So that's all I've got on PlayPosit. Thank you so much for listening. You can contact me. I'll put it here. If you've got questions about how I use it, or if you want to find my teacher search code to copy my bulbs, my email is right there. I am Beth Robelia. And thanks for listening.